So I may have met with three English language examiners, and I'm going to tell you directly the hacks that they told me that they look for. And these people have been marking exams for lots and lots of you guys. So I am giving you the top secrets. Thank me later. Okay, number one. What is the first hack? What is the first thing they told me? It is state the effect, no technique spotting. Okay, you're thinking, what does this mean? So what we want to avoid is just saying the technique without explaining what it does or why it matters in the context of the text. So it's literally just stating, this is a metaphor. This simile shows that the character is feeling sad. The writer uses the word jagged, which is an adjective to describe the rocks. It doesn't give me any explanation of what the adjective does. What does it help us understand? Why it matters? We don't just want to be technique spotting. We want to be understanding, okay, what is the effect, and then how can I link that to the overall meaning and message of what is being shown in the text? So what we want to do instead is we want to say what the technique shows or makes the reader think or feel. Link it to something deeper, like the character's emotions, the mood, their setting, or the theme. So we want to think, why this word? What does it add? So as an example, the writer uses the word jagged to create a sharp and dangerous image. So you can see there, I've stated the technique about the word jagged, and it creates a sharp and dangerous image. That is the effect of the word. That is what jagged does. Showing the setting is tense and possibly threatening. So then I've explained what that contributes. What does that help me understand? So the first thing I've done is I've stated the effect of the technique, which is it's sharp and dangerous. And then I've linked it to what that helps me understand, that the setting is tense and possibly threatening. This helps the reader feel uneasy, which links the fear in the character's mind. Then I've kind of linked it back to the character and what it potentially shows about to the reader as well. So I'm not just stating the technique, I'm talking about the effect and then how it links. What does it add to my understanding? And the easiest thing you want to do, guys, is for English language, because there are so many different techniques, and if you're like, hey, I don't want to make sure I'm technique spotting, you just want to learn the effects of techniques. So you want to pre-learn what the effect of alliteration is. And luckily for you guys, if you go into essay skills, or you can even go into the language courses, if you go on technique sheet, if you go on language technique sheet or structure technique sheet on the Light Up Hub, we actually give you the effects of every single language and structure technique. So you can kind of just pre-learn the ones that you think you're going to use, like alliteration. Everyone uses alliteration. And just knowing the effects is it draws attention to certain phrases or sentences, or it emphasizes something. So then I know when I use alliteration, I'm going to say the alliteration on insert quote emphasizes, or it draws attention to insert, and then I explain what that allows me to understand. So then you can just basically know the technique and then know the effect of it, and that is the best way to go about it, so you don't technique spot for English language. And then hack number 2 is we want to be perceptive. And it's like, be perceptive. Okay, Aaliyah, what does that even mean? It means we want to think outside of the box. So what we want to avoid is saying something obvious or just repeating what the quote says without adding anything new. And I know this is super hard for English language because you've never seen the extract before, and you might be thinking, well, I'm not very good at creating ideas. Don't worry, I'm going to help you do it. So we might just say, the writer says the door creaked, which shows it made a noise. Not very insightful, is it? I'm like, okay, we understand that, but how can we think a bit more outside of the box? What we want to do is we want to look deeper and ask yourself, what might this symbolize? What feeling or idea is hinted at beneath the surface? Think about less obvious meanings and how it can link to a bigger message, tone, or theme. So I want to think about, does it symbolize something? Does the door creaking suggest something? Can we think about something that is hidden beneath the surface? Does it link to another part of the text? Does it maybe link to a bigger message or a theme or a tone? So think about a bigger theme. A theme could be power, it could be love, it could be fear. That could be an overall theme that runs throughout the text. So does it link to any of that? So for example of it done right, the writer says the door creaked, which could suggest something hidden is about to be revealed, or that danger is slowly approaching. The sound builds tension and hints that the character is not alone, adding to the suspense. So you can see there, I'm saying what it could suggest is that something is hidden. I'm not just saying that the door creaked, I'm trying to explain what it could symbolize and that something dangerous is about to be revealed. So I'm kind of just thinking, although it doesn't say that, I'm kind of thinking, because I've of course read the whole text, what it's suggesting about the text later on. And then I've also said how it builds tension. So I'm linking it to what kind of tone or mood it's creating. So a really easy way to do it, just think about what does it symbolize? Like, does it have like a deeper meaning for something? And does it add to like a tone or mood? Does it create a tense mood? Does it create for joyful tone or mood? Or you can link it to bigger ideas or themes. Like, does that really reinforce the theme of power? Does it really reinforce the theme of love that we see in the text? And that's an easy way that you can kind of think outside of the box without having to be an English genius. Because I know, English isn't everyone's strong point, and thinking of ideas on the spot is super hard, but that's just an easy way that you can go about it. And then hack number 3 is we want short, focused quotes. Now, when I was speaking to these English examiners, they were literally saying to me, this is both for literature and language as well, that the shorter the quotes, the better. And guys, that is brilliant news for you, because then you don't need to find these really long quotes. We want to go for as short quotes as possible and then embed them in. So what we want to avoid is copying long chunks of text or quoting full sentences without zooming in on the key words. For example, the writer says, he walked into the dark, cold, silent room feeling like he was being watched from every corner. This isn't what we want to do. It's too long, it's not specific. We want to pick out the specific bit, and then it also saves you time in your writing. Then you don't have to write up all of the quote, which will save you more time for the analysis part, which is the most important thing. So, what we want to do is want to pick out the most powerful word or phrase and explain why that specific part is important. Short quotes are easy to analyse and actually help you stay focused on what really matters. So for example, I've got a very, very long quote, and then look, I've just picked out the word silent here. The word silent shows how unnerving the room is. So again, it just allows me to be really focused. It creates an eerie atmosphere and suggests something bad is about to happen. Again, I think the analysis on this could be a little bit better, but just as to give you an example. But again, that can kind of link to what we said, like what does it symbolize? Can we link it to what it shows about a character or a tone? And that's how you could build upon it. But you can see just a very, very short quote. I don't need a long quote. I want to pick out moments. Now, if you did want to use, say, for example, this longer quote, and you're like, but I actually wanted to use quite a lot of it, you can use an ellipsis. So you could say, dark, cold, silent room, ... watch from every corner. So you can use the ellipsis to summarize it. And that's a really easy way for English language, just embedding in the quotes, making sure that your techniques are not technique spotting. But one of the most important things for English language is having good structures, because of course this is kind of like the overall tips. But if you have good structures, it means you can tick off everything in the mark scheme. It's honestly the biggest hack. So let's say, for example, we're going to go for AQA English language paper 1. And I want to know a structure for question 2. Again, you can get these structures from anywhere. We just already pre-do it for you on the Light Up Hub. So you can see for every single question, we go through a full structure. We give you sentence starters. So then you know, in language paper 1, question 2, this is everything I need to do to get a top mark. Then, of course, we want to make sure we're embedding our quotes in that, really short quotes. We're not technique spotting, so we've also learned the technique effects, which we've done before. And then you can kind of put it all together and thinking about how we deepen our analysis. But this will help you, because then all you've got to do for the analysis part, so this bit here, is making sure you're thinking about like what it symbolizes. Can we link it to tone, bigger ideas? And that is the way, guys, that you will hack English language. And I'm telling you, I've spoken to the examiners. I've done this with over 40,000 students. I've done this a lot, right? Like, I promise you, if you have good structures, you've got sentence starters, you know not to technique spot, you will ace your English language exam.